4 very different magic tricks. One of them is supposed to be a floating human with no strings attached. It's totally missing the middle section. The trick is next is this. It may look like an ordinary piece of plastic. The trick is when you rotate the stick. It actually becomes a 7. I'm sorry I had to do this to you guys, but it's a cool illusion. Next is this. It may look like an ordinary picture of a dog, but when you hold it up to the light, it reveals something much cooler. And last is this. You guys thought it was a regular cup, but really in reality, it's I 3D printed 4. Or very different magic tricks, and one of them will trick your brain. This first one is a floating human with no strings attached. It's totally missing the middle section. I can even pass a pen through it from different.
Très bon.
My neighbor who thought I was gay found out I'm straight the hard way. I'm 24, and I've lived next to the Hendersons my whole life. Mrs. Henderson, 52, has always treated me like her third daughter, inviting me to book club, asking about my roommate, Haley, buying me bath bombs from Target for Christmas. She'd make comments like, "You're so well dressed for a young man." Or, "I wish Samantha had your fashion sense." Looking back, every sign pointed to her thinking I was the gay best friend who'd never laid a hand on her daughter, which made last Thursday extremely awkward. I'm over there helping them move furniture because Mr. Henderson, 54, threw out his back trying to prove he could still bench press like he did in 89. Their daughter Samantha's there too. We grew up together, went to the same high school. She was my lab partner in chemistry. We're carrying this massive oak dresser up the stairs when Mrs. Henderson goes, "You know what? You two would make such good friends if Samantha wasn't so boy crazy. She needs a nice friend like you." Samantha nearly drops her end of the dresser. I cough to hide my laugh. Because here's what Mrs. Henderson doesn't know. Samantha and I have been hooking up for 6 months. It started at a mutual friend's wedding last December. Too much champagne, slow dancing. One thing led to another in the coat room. We kept it quiet because, honestly, it was easier. No pressure, no family dinners, just us figuring things out. Plus, Samantha thought it was hilarious that her mom kept trying to set her up with guys from church while I was literally texting her goodnight every evening. So we finished moving furniture around 9 p.m. I head home, shower, and I'm watching Netflix when my phone buzzes. "Samantha, parents just took their melatonin gummies. Give it 30 minutes, then come over. I'll leave my window unlocked." This wasn't unusual. We'd done this maybe a dozen times. Her childhood bedroom window faces the side yard, hidden from the street. Easy access, zero risk. At 11:47 p.m., I climb through. Samantha's sitting on her bed in my old college hoodie and shorts. We're keeping it quiet, being responsible. responsible adults about this whole secret relationship thing. Then her bed frame starts squeaking. It's this ancient wooden frame from when she was 12, and apparently it has opinions about our life choices. Every movement sounds like a haunted house. We try switching to the floor, but her parents' bedroom is directly below us. We're laughing, trying to stay quiet when I hear footsteps in the hallway. Heavy ones. Samantha's eyes go wide. That's my dad's walk. I'm calculating if I can dive under the bed when her door doesn't just open. It slams against the wall. Mrs. Henderson, pink bathrobe, hair in curlers, holding a Louisville Slugger baseball bat like she's about to hit a home run off my skull. She's screaming, "Who's in here? I'm calling 911!" Mr. Henderson appears behind her in his Packers pajama pants, squinting without his glasses. The lights flip on. I'm shirtless, frozen halfway off the bed. Samantha's wearing my hoodie that very clearly says University of Wisconsin Men's Lacrosse across the front, and nothing else. Nobody moves. Nobody breathes. Mrs. Henderson's mouth is literally hanging open. Bat still raised above her head. She's looking at me, then Samantha, then back at me. Her brain is visibly buffering. Finally, she lowers the bat an inch and goes, I thought you were gay. Mr. Henderson mutters, Jesus Christ, Helen. Samantha, God bless her, sits up straighter and deadpan responds, yeah, Mom, that's why he's shirtless in my bed at midnight on a Thursday. Mrs. Henderson's face goes from confused to pale to bright red in about 3 seconds. She turns to her husband and goes, did you know about this, Mr. Henderson, still squinting, just shrugs. I mean, I had suspicions when she started wearing his hoodies to breakfast. Suspicions. She's been parading around in lacrosse apparel and you didn't think to mention it? I'm still frozen, trying to decide if speaking will make this better or worse. I settle on, Mrs. Henderson, I can explain. Explain what? That you've been climbing through my daughter's window like some kind of hoodlum? Samantha tries. Mom, we're both adults. Adults don't sneak around. Adults have dinner. Adults meet the parents. The irony of this statement while I'm literally shirtless in her daughter's childhood bedroom is not lost on anyone. Mr. Henderson finally puts his hand on his wife's shoulder. Helen, let's discuss this in the morning. Everyone put your clothes on. I've never dressed faster in my entire life. I grabbed my shirt, climbed back out the window, and sprinted to my car parked 2 blocks away. I'm currently sitting in the Target parking lot at 1:30 a.m. My phone has 47 text messages, 23 from my mom, who somehow already knows, 18 from Samantha apologizing, and 6 from various family group chats. The last text is from Mr. Henderson, sent 3 minutes ago. Walk-in clinic opens at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Don't make me a grandfather. Good night. I haven't responded. Samantha just sent, Mom's crying about grandchildren now. This is the opposite of what we expected. My neighbor who thought I was gay found out I'm straight the hard way. I'm 24, and I've lived next to the Hendersons my whole...
News therapy. I think they're...
Let my daughter go now.
Why I quit using AirPods? So this is EMF radiation, guys. EMF radiation is produced by cell phones, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. In 2011, EMF radiation was classified by International Agency for Research on Cancer as a Group 2B carcinogen that is possibly carcinogenic to humans. This is the same class as pickled vegetables and aloe vera. So look, it's pretty safe. The theoretical issue though is that these AirPods, even though they emit
Is it okay to swim in this lake? Is it okay to swim in this lake?
This is a spillway, not for swimming. Falling in is like being sucked into a washing machine.
Is it okay to swim in this lake?
This is a salt lake. Bacteria in water are all killed. You can swim safely.
Is it okay to swim in this lake?
This is the Amazon River. Swimmable, but protect your vital areas.
Is it okay to swim in this lake?
This is an oil lake. High density of oil. Falling in will trap you.
Is it okay to swim in this lake?
This is a beach lake. Water clear and surface calm. Very safe.
Is it okay to swim in this lake?
This is Lake Semporna. Has both trash and crocodiles swimmable.
Is it okay to swim in this lake?
This is an ice needle lake. Underwater temperature extremely low. Swimming may cause hypothermia.
Is it okay to swim in this lake?
This lake is man-made. Swim if you dare.
Is it okay to swim in this lake?
This is Lake Capri Blue, the only unpolluted water body on Earth not recommended to swim.
Is it okay to swim in this lake?
This is a spillway, not for swimming. Falling in is like being sucked into a washing machine.
Water level is rising above the largest dam in the world, the Three Gorges Dam. The authorities have no choice but to open the spillways. It's a beautiful sight, but can you spot a major design flaw? You're right. This water ejecting at high speed could erode the soil around the foundation, and finally, the clever engineering of these Chinese engineers install these concrete chutes. These chutes eject the water upward into the air, where it breaks into small droplets. These droplets land nearly 100 meters away from the base of the dam. At that distance, the fine mist doesn't pose any threat to the dam's foundations. Observing the path of this spillway water is fascinating. But the big question is how such a massive concrete structure was built in a location that was originally Originally a powerful, free-flowing river, the Yangtze River. To construct the dam, engineers didn't use a traditional river diversion technique. Instead, they used ingenious methods. Build 2/3 of the dam first and the final third later. Initially, they constructed a stone coffer dam in the 2/3 width of the river. Can you tell what will happen to the river flow now? The river has no issue. It will flow through the remaining planet, the Earth, experiences a small issue due to this massive water level concentration. The huge amount
China has historically leveraged dam.
The Viant Dam tragedy. The massive tsunami from the dam wiped out many towns and villages, killing more than 2,000 people. Yet, the next morning, authorities were shocked to find the dam intact. If the dam remained undamaged, how did such a devastating tragedy occur? That night, a massive landslide occurred on the south side of Mount Top, moving at speeds over 90 kilometers per hour. You can see here, the soil, which plunges into the water body at high speed, generates an enormous wave that overtops the dam with ease, propagating downstream and wreaking destruction. The authorities decided to construct a dam between these two mountains. The area's strong rock formations were seen as a suitable support for the dam, while the steep angles and narrow gaps promised significant savings in construction materials. But there was a problem. Mount Toc had a grim nickname. Locals called it the mountain that walks. This region with vertical cliffs was infamous for landslides, sometimes shifting inches per year, and other times moving at speeds of tens of kilometers per hour. However, the authorities were convinced that the narrow region was ideal for dam construction. The Vaillant Dam featured a beautiful double curvature arch design, also known as a shell arch design. The curvatures in both directions efficiently resisted the immense hydrostatic pressure, much like the thin shell of an egg withstands applied force. To grasp how slender the Vaillant Dam structure was, compare it to the Hoover Dam, which is a gravity arch dam. The initial proposed height for the Vaillant Dam was 150 meters, but this was later increased to 200 meters and finally to 260 meters, making it the tallest dam in the world at the time. It had the capacity to hold 168 million cubic meters of water and was estimated to generate 200 megawatts of electricity from different hydroelectric power plants. An impressive feat. Filling of the dam began in February 1960. When the water level reached 170 meters, authorities noticed a large crack on Mount Toc, an ominous sign that a major landslide was imminent. The rate of displacement was measured at 3.5 centimeters per day. To understand this phenomenon, we must delve into some crucial geotechnical details. Mount Toc appeared calm, stable, and strong due to its limestone rock, but a hidden danger lurked beneath. Beneath the thick limestone layer lay a 5 to 10 centimeter thick clay interbed. The high slope of the mountain, combined with the limestone's permeability and the clay layer acting as a slip surface, created a perfect setup for disaster. As the dam filled, water percolated through the limestone, weakening the clay's shear strength significantly. Heavy rainfall between 1960 and 1963 further exacerbated the situation. This is why the landslide began to mobilize in 1960, just 9 months after filling commenced. On November 4th, 1960, when the reservoir depth reached 180 meters, a large failure occurred. Around 700,000 cubic meters of material slid into the lake in about 10 minutes. After this incident, the movement got reduced to just 1 millimeter per day. This incident caused no immediate damage to the dam or downstream villages. However, this incident foreshadowed greater risks. Authorities feared that a faster landslide could generate a wave capable of overtopping the dam. Despite warnings, authorities did not abandon the hydroelectric project. Engineers from SAE conducted detailed model-based experiments to assess the impact of a larger landslide and devise solutions. Their July 1962 report warned that a high-speed landslide could be catastrophic, especially if the reservoir was full. The dam might survive such an event, but the resulting water wave would overtop it, destroying downstream villages in a tsunami. The management ignored this warning. The next main finding was that the filling of the reservoir due to the landslide happens in 10 minutes or so. The reservoir water won't overtop the dam. In this case, they can still operate the hydroelectric facility.
This is the Vaillant model rebuilt. You can see here, when I introduce the landslide mass very slowly into the reservoir, no water is overtopping the dam. In the second experiment, I am dropping the mass into the reservoir. Interestingly, small waves of water here, and it is able to overtop the dam. The third experiment, in fact, I am throwing the mass with a high speed. Here, a huge wave followed by many small waves, easily overtopping the dam by a great extent, an extremely dangerous condition. Interestingly, in this case, the volume displaced by the water is much higher than the volume mass I introduced. However, the authorities wanted a very slow landslide. In that case, the tunnels on the left side will be blocked. So their solution, build the tunnels on the right side.
Their solution to control the rate of landslide was by controlling the water level using drainage tunnels. More the water height, more will be the joint water thrust in the rock, hence a higher movement of mass. If they want a controlled landslide, just reduce the water height. The engineers were obviously playing with human lives. The Viant Dam mountains had impressive internal tunnel arrangements. Some tunnels would fill the reservoir, while other tunnels drained it out. Here is the main power production facility of the Viant Dam, Colombo Power Plant. This was a Francis turbine-based power generation facility. By controlling the valves of these tunnels, authorities were able to alter the water height in the reservoir easily. The authorities installed electric poles and light to observe the movement of the crack, even at night. These are the sequence of their water level experiments and its impact on the landslide. At first, they reduced the reservoir height. The movement reduced from 8 centimeters per day to 3 millimeters per day at a level of 185 meters of water. When the level was 135 meters, the movement was just 1 millimeter per day. Remember, by this time, the main landslide mass had moved an average of about 1 meter. In October 1961, they started the second filling of the dam and reached a water level of 235 meters. The movement velocity increased to 1.2 centimeters per day. In November 1962, the authorities started the second drawdown of the dam. By April 1963, when the water level height was reduced to 185 meters, the movement rate was effectively zero. These experiences increased the confidence of engineers. They believe that the landslide can be controlled by adjusting the water level. You can guess what they've done next. The authorities went for filling the dam once again, the third filling. Until July 1963, when the height was 240 meters, everything went smooth. The rate of movement increased only by a small amount, half a centimeter per day. In September, the height was increased to 245 meters, and there was a drastic increase in land movement, 3.5 centimeters per day. The authorities took immediate remedial action, bring the water level down further. They brought down the water level to 235 meters, but the movement rate kept on increasing. On October 9, 1963, the movement rate was 20 centimeters per day. There was excessive on-site monitoring at the dam when the rock slide occurred. 20 technical people at the left abutment and 40 people at the right abutment. At 10:38 p.m. on October 9th, the catastrophic landslide occurred. The size of the forest rock, which was moving down, was 260 million meters cubed, with a speed of more than 90 kilometers per hour. The landslide was completed. Remember, the engineers wanted this landslide to happen in 10 minutes. All the technical people perished under this excessive wave. On that day, the dam had 115 million cubic meters of water. The village of Casso, situated on the opposite bank, was completely destroyed by the huge wave of water. The other nearby village on the bank, Erto, had a lucky escape. This village was situated after a curvature, and the high-power water could not reach this region. The other half of the wave overtopped the dam by a whopping 245 meters. The 350-meter-tall tsunami first reached the Lake Longarone. Here it drops its speed to 80 kilometers per hour, and wave height to 170 meters.
The tsunami needs just 4 minutes to reach the town. In many bars of Longarone, people were enjoying a football match. Suddenly, the power failed, and they received heavy wind with mist and sand in it. Most of the people came out to understand what was going on. The entire town of Longarone was wiped out by the mega tsunami. The villages of Villanova were totally decimated.
Green light. Red light. 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 Green light. Red light.